What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We got our first game and we are going up against the top dogs, Tearlaments. Alright, so our hand is looking okay. So we normal carrot to special summon blue so that we can search for a jet. Jet is going to special summon to add our sprite starter. Then we're going to go into gigantic sprite. And then with the gigantic sprite, we can special summon any level 2 monster. So we are going to special summon our retainer. Retainer is going to get us our Omni Negate trap card. Then we're going to activate our starter so that we can special summon the red so that we can go into our sprite elf. Alright, and with the sprite elf, we're going to bring back the blue. Use the carrot and the blue to go into IP Masquerina. So on our opponent's turn, we can make an Abramax, and then we're gonna set Imperm and our Domination. And let's see what our opponent does. He's gonna activate Terraforming. We're gonna activate Elf so we can bring back our carrot, so we can have an extra spell of Trap Negate. All right, he's gonna search for the field spell. He's gonna activate Scream. We're gonna let him scream and shout all he wants. It's all good. Then he's going to normal summon Merle. Then he's gonna mill 3. He milled a Reinhardt, a Kelbeck, and an Imperm. So he's gonna activate the Kelbeck and the Reinhardt from the graveyard. So he's gonna special summon the Reinhardt, and then he's gonna mill about 5 more cards. And he's gonna activate the Reinhardt to send the card to the graveyard and yada yada, you know, Tearlaments stuff. So I think he's gonna send the Halfness. Yeah, and then the Halfness is going to try to fusion summon, and this is where we activate our first negate. Then he's trying to go for his first fusion summon, so we got to negate that. Alright, now he's going to special summon the Sheeran, and I activate Masquerina. And the reason why I activate Masquerina is just because, just in case if he ends up making a Rukalas out of nowhere. Because if you don't know, Rukalas can negate the IP Masquerina, so it will prevent you from going into Abramax. So he's going to mill more cards with the Agito. And then from here, he's going to go into the Sprite Elf. He's going to make his own Sprite Elf. He's going to then try to get his Merle back to the field. I'm going to activate Banshee. He milled Banshee for us, so we can get our Zombie World on the field. Alright, now he's going to activate the field spell, but it's all good. We're okay. We're pretty okay. Then he's going to go into Gigantic Sprite. And here we're going to hit him with our second negate, just to prevent him from extending anymore. So we're going to hit him with that Imperm, put a stop on that, and that's it. That's it, bro. That's it. Let's move on. What's up, my people? Welcome back. We are in game number 2, and this time we are going up against another Tearlaments player. So we normal retainer. He's gonna hit us with the Maxi, but you know, we cannot extend any more than that, so that's a Maxi wasted. So we just set 3. He's gonna activate the Scream. He's gonna start shouting, crying for help, because that's what he's gonna need by the time I'm finished with him. He's gonna need a lot of help. He's gonna mill 3, but he didn't hit anything, so we got a little lucky. He's gonna activate our Cyclone to banish his Scream. Alright, then we're gonna join to another Cyclone. Unfortunate, but at least we have Froline in our hand, so we can special summon it during the battle phase. Then we set down our Cyclone and pass. And I guess, you know, our opponent is also not having the best of hands either, so I guess, you know, it's a pretty evenly matched game. We normal summon our familiar. We're gonna attack with Froline. And the reason why I attack with Froline is because now at the end of the battle phase, I can steal his monster. So then we're gonna make now a Dark. With Dark, we can steal his Merle from the graveyard. But he's got one of the shufflers, so he's gonna activate his Medura to shuffle back his cards to prevent me from stealing another monster from his graveyard. Alright, and with that we pass turn. Alright, he's got the Reinhardt. He's going to send the Merle to the graveyard, and the Merle is going to try to fusion summon, but we have our Vampire Domination trap card, so we can negate the Merle, prevent any fusion summoning from happening. He's gonna activate the Medora. He's going to send back his Merly. I guess he's really desperate. And then he doesn't read cards because he's going to attack into Pro Line, knowing that I can give her an attack boost. And since we destroy the monster with Front Line, we can steal his monster that we just killed. And with that, he's going to scoop. Read your cards, mate. I know you're playing the best deck in the game, but I still think some reading is required. You know what I'm saying? Alright, let's move on. Alright, hello everyone. Welcome back to game number 3. And we're going up against, you already know, Tearlaments. Alright, so he's going to normal summon Reinhardt. He's going to send the Halfness. With the Halfness, he's going to be able to fusion summon. And unfortunate for us, we don't really have any hand traps. So we're just going to have to sit here and let him cook. So we're going to fast forward a little bit since he is just going to do a lot of milling and a lot of fusion summoning. And it's not much we can do here, so he's gonna go into now Rocalis. Then I think he's gonna go into his Kid Kalas after this. And then it's also very unfortunate for us, he has the Gravedigger's trap. And then we tried to activate our Vampire Sorcerer, but he ends up negating us. Alright, now he's got the Sharon. With these, he's gonna make an Abyss Dweller. And now he's just gonna pass turn. So he has Rocalis, Abyss Dweller, and a Halfness. So he's going to activate his Abyss Dweller to try to shut me off from my graveyard, which he succeeds because I don't have anything to negate that. So I activate Evenly Matched, and he's going to banish everything but the Rocalis. And since he locked me out of my graveyard, so that's why I don't go into the Vampire combo, because I won't be able to activate anything from the graveyard since his Abyss Dweller was able to resolve. So now he's going to banish the Rainbow Bridge to add the Crystal Beast monster and to add the field spell to his hand. He's going to activate the field spell. He's going to search for Reinhardt. And I'm not going to lie, man. It's not looking good for us right now, and it doesn't end too good for us. So he tries to fusion summon some more, so we're going to activate our Medora to shuffle back all of his cards. And he's going to activate the field spell to try to pop my starter. So I'm going to activate the starter, but the Rocalis is able to negate it because Rocalis can negate any effect that allows us to special summon anything. So it's really unfortunate for us. Alright, so now it's back to us. We can try to attempt to start our Vampire combo. So we normal summon Ghost, send Retainer, add Void, send Familiar, activate Retainer, send Familiar, but he's got the Keldo, so he's going to shuffle back my cards, so that's going to prevent us from doing anything. Alright, we activate Desire to try to send Familiar. Now we're going to try to activate Sorcerer, so we're going to activate Familiar, but he has the Call by the Grave, bro. And I tried to dodge the Call by the Grave by activating Ghost to try to summon Vampire Void without having to pay tribute. But unfortunately, you know, he has the Rocalis, so the Rocalis is going to negate my Void when I try to steal. And I guess you could argue that, you know, I shouldn't have activated Void, but even if I don't activate Void, like, I was just gonna have to end my turn because I don't have anything, and on his turn he was just gonna be able to pretty much kill Void regardless. So any way that I go, I was just pretty much done for. So unfortunately for us, we get our asses kicked this time around against Tearlaments, but you know, what are you gonna do, bro? You're gonna win some and you're gonna lose some. So he goes into Kaleido Heart, and with that, he's just gonna smack us across the head, and yeah, we're gonna call it a day with that one, man. We get our asses kicked, but it's all good. Out of 3 tournament matches, we won 2 and lost 1, so not too bad for Vampires. We live to see another day. Hello everyone, welcome back. This is game number 4, and we're going up against Numeron. So our hand is looking pretty okay. Okay, we're gonna activate Zombie World. He's gonna activate Numeron Wall so that he can set his field spell directly from the deck. We're gonna normal summon Retainer, and then we're going to special summon Jet. He's gonna hit us with the Ash Blossom to prevent us from searching for our Sprite starter. Alright, then we're going to special summon Carrot onto the field. Then using Retainer and Jet, we're going to make our Gigantic Sprite. Then with the Gigantic Sprite, we're going to detach Retainer so that we can special summon Blue. Blue is going to be able to search for Red, and the Red is going to be able to special summon itself. But first, we're going to make a Sprite Elf. Alright, and then with the Sprite Elf, we can bring back Retainer, and then Retainer can search for our trap card. And then using Carrot and Red, we're going to make IT Masquerina. And then we're just going to set our trap card and pass. So our opponent, he's going to now activate Numeron Network so that he can bring out his XZ monsters. But before he does that, we bring our our Red to the field so that we can have a monster negate. And then he doesn't attack. He goes into the Link 3 Infinite Track Fortress Megaclops. So I automatically go into Avermax so that I can deal with his Link 3 monster if he decides to attack. But he knows better, so he just passes turn. So we draw Familiar. Then we're going to go make a Vampire Sucker using Red and Retainer. And I guess he knows our deck because he automatically imperms our Vampire Sucker, which is going to prevent us from using his monster as tribute when we wanted to normal summon Void. And then he's going to activate his second imperm to negate Retainer from searching any other Vampire card that I may have. And then since he activated his imperm, he activated imperm in this column, so I cannot use Vampire Domination as well. So had to keep that in mind, but it's all good. So using Void, we're gonna steal 2 of his monsters, and then we're gonna make Vampire Sheridan. And the reason why I make Vampire Sheridan is because if we read his card, it says it is unaffected by other monsters' effects except those of XC monsters. So I go into Dampier because Dampier I can detach our card, and then I can pretty much send a monster from the field to the graveyard, and in doing so I was able to set myself up for lethal damage. And that's all she wrote. Alright, let's move on. Alright, what's up everybody? So this time we are going up against the Darkness, who is using a Heroes deck. And our hand is kind of ass, so we normal summon Keldo, but he's going to hit us with the Imperm. We activate our Zombie World, and we also activate Desires. And when using the Sprite engine, the reason why I like to run Desire is because with Desire I can send Retainer to the graveyard, which is going to turn Keldo into a level 2 monster. So Desire reads that you can target one face-up monster you control, send one vampire monster from your deck to the graveyard with a different level, and if you do, the targeted monster becomes the level of that sent monster. So since Retainer is a level 2 monster, I can send it to the graveyard and turn Keldo into a level 2 monster, which is going to allow us to special summon Blue from the hand. But unfortunately for us, that all gets cancelled because we get hit with an Ash Blossom. And then that's all we can do for now, so we just end our turn. So our opponent, he's going to normal summon Neo Space Connector, which is going to allow him to add a Neo Station monster. And with this, he's going to make Turtle Plant Anaconda. And I thought he was going to go into DPE, but instead he goes into Elemental Neo's Clugger. And then this guy right here has the effect that if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can inflict damage to your opponent equal to that opponent's monster's attack. And the reason why I bring this up because it's gonna come up later in something that I do. So he's gonna burn me for 1200 because Keldo's 1200, and then he's gonna attack me for 1800. He's gonna set one and it's back to us. Alright, so we draw another blue, so we normal summon to special summon the blue. Blue is gonna get us Jet, special summon Jet, so that we can get our Sprite starter. Then using these two monsters, we can make our Gigantic Sprite. And then with Gigantic Sprite, we can detach the monster, and then we can special summon Retainer. Then Retainer is gonna get our trap card. And then using the other two monsters, we're gonna make Sprite L. And then Sprite L, we can bring back our monster, but before we do that, we're gonna special summon Carrot. And the reason why I special summon Carrot is just in case if he activates that trap card, which is what he's gonna do. So using Carrot, we're gonna send Blue to the graveyard so that we can negate the trap card. Alright, so we smack him, get rid of that Anaconda, then we're gonna go into our IP Masquerena. Alright, and then we're gonna set Evenly Match and pass turn. Alright, then he's gonna activate Neo's Fusion. We're gonna bring back Retainer. And the reason I bring back Retainer is because without Retainer, then our trap card is pretty much dead. And then he's gonna go into Rainbow's Neo, so in order to deal with that monster, I go into Avermax, because that's a 4500 monster. I have another way to deal with it besides going into Avermax. He's gonna attack into Avermax like a dummy. And then this Neo's Fusion thing is going to pretty much prevent him from being destroyed by battle by banishing this card. Then this is what I meant, why I wanted to bring this card later. So he's gonna attack into Avermax, and Avermax is 3000. So remember, his first effect is that if this face-up card battles an opponent monster, you can burn your opponent for the attack damage of that monster. So meaning that by attacking into Avermax, he can burn me for 3000, and that would be game. So we activate our domination to pretty much negate that from happening. And then he's also going to banish another Neo's Fusion from his graveyard, which is going to prevent his monsters from being destroyed. But we get to activate Avermax, and now we're going to hit him for 3000 attack instead. Alright, let's move on. Alright, my peoples, let's check out the deck list. So we have 42 cards, and we have Familiar. And as you know, Familiar is going to search us our Vampire Void. Then we have two Kurikatas. You can cut this if you want, but for me, sometimes it comes in clutch. Especially with Tearlaments, they're able to play on your turn, so you can pretty much special summon this card from your hand by tributing all face-up monsters on the field that activated their effects this turn. And then it also gains 1500 attack for each monster that is tributed. So it can also become a beat stick. And then at the end phase, you can target one monster in your opponent's graveyard, and you can pretty much steal it and summon it to your side of the field. So it can be useful. And we have two Maxis, and it's also a level 2. So worst case scenario, you can always normal summon Maxi, and then you can special summon any of your Sprite cards. Then we have 3 Vampire Retainer. This is sort of like another extender starter in this Sprite engine because it's a level 2. So you can normal summon Retainer as well, and then you can special summon any of the Sprite cards. Then we have Sprite Blue as another starter. This is gonna search you any Sprite monster from your deck to your hand. Then you got the Sprite Jet, that's gonna search any Sprite spell or trap card, and in this case we only run the starter. And then we have the Sprite Red, which is a monster negate, and the Sprite Carrot, which is a spell or trap negate. We have 2 Ash Blossoms because I be getting hit with Maxi a lot sometimes playing this engine, so just something to counter Maxi. Then we have 3 Vampire Ghost. You know, this is our Vampire starter. Then we have 1 Vampire Sorcerer so that we can normal summon Void without having to tribute 2 monsters. Then we have the Banshee just to try to get Zombie World into the field a little bit more consistently. And we have 1 Keldo and 1 Mudora, and these are pretty much to shuffle any Tearlament cards that may try to activate in the graveyard. And also it can be useful to recycle our own cards. Then we have Vampire Fraulein. She can serve as an extender. Then we have the boss monster, Void. You know what that does, steal 2 monsters from our opponent's graveyard so that we can make zombie vampire or we can make vampire. And then we have Vampire's Desire, and as I mentioned in the heroes gameplay, this right here, you can target a monster and then you can send retainer to the graveyard, and then you can make any monster a level 2, which will allow you to then special summon any of your sprite cards, so it can make things a little more consistent. And we have 2 zombie worlds to go in hand with our vampire sucker, which will allow us to tribute our opponent's monster whenever we want to normal summon Void. Then we have 2 cosmic cyclones just to get rid of back rows, the call by the grave just to deal with Tearlaments and anything like that, and also any maxi that might happen. And then the sprite starter, pretty much to special summon a sprite monster. Then evenly matched to help break boards, 2 imperms to negate any monsters, and our vampire omni negate. And we have 1 mannequin cat. Sometimes this card comes useful. You can target 1 face-up monster the opponent controls, and you can special summon 1 monster with the same type or attribute. So sometimes if our opponent is playing dark monsters, we can pretty much try to special summon Void from our deck by targeting 1 of their dark monsters. And then gigantic sprite, you know, this is our extender. Abyss Dweller to deal with the Tearlaments to shut down their graveyards. Vampire to get rid of any monster that we may have trouble with in the opponent's side of the field. Vampire Zombie, you know what it does, just to mill 4 cards from each player's deck, and then we can special summon a monster to outside of the field. 1 Linkaribo, 1 Vampire Sucker, 1 Masquerena so that we can make Avramax, 1 Dark so that we can steal a dark monster, Underworld Goddess so that we can break boards a little bit with it, Avramax as the boss link monster of this deck, Vampire Fascinator, just an extender and to steal monsters, and then 2 Sprite Elf to resurrect any level 2 monsters. And then also I was experimenting with the Gravekeeper's Trap, so I had this in combination with the Exchange of the Spirit. So this can pretty much lock your opponent from activating anything in the graveyard, but I cut it because it wasn't very consistent. It didn't come up very often. And then what made it consistent is if I added more of the Ishizu cards. But if I added more of the Ishizu cards, then the deck will become, you know, 44, 45 cards, or I would have to cut something from over here. So I don't know, I just felt I like this the way it is now, and that's why I cut these cards. But you can experiment with it. If you can get this card and the Exchange of the Spirit in your graveyard, if you can somehow get that working for you, I mean, it can really shut down Tearlaments and a lot of other decks out there. But yep, anyways, that's the deck. Let me know, what do you guys think? Is the Sprite engine the best engine to play vampires? Do you think this is the best way to make vampires a little more consistent? Let me know what you guys think down below. And yep, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Please remember, if you enjoyed today's video, to like, comment, subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Catch you on the next. Peace out.